guys, my name is Nori and welcome back to my channel. So today, according to the title, we are going to be talking about books that have a bad reputation. And no matter what these books do or how they age, some tea is going to follow them. So here we go with the disclaimer. If you love this book, or if you love this franchise, or if you love this author, go ahead with your bad self. Love whatever you want. This is my video and this is my opinion, and if you don't like it, well then, oops. Click out on something else, and hopefully that you enjoy my other content. But continuing on with this video, we are going to start with a very infamous book. That we're going to be starting off, it is a very 2000s YA cult classic, and we are talking about Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I remember when this came out and everybody was reading it, and urban fantasy was the most popular thing that everybody was reading. It came out, or it made a way to a lot of books. But in 2020, a lot of people hate this franchise. Let's be honest, it did not age well, including the relationship between Bella and Edward. It is now classified as an emotionally abusive relationship, aka a glorified abusive relationship. We got Jacob imprinting on a baby, which I don't think we will ever forget.
You imprinted on my daughter?
It wasn't my choice.
She's a baby!
Have the book that every time that you open it, every other page has a grammar error. I don't know who edited it. This book did not age well over time. And then the whole parody started to come out, and then everybody and their grandmothers. I remember watching BookTube years ago, and every time I would see somebody on haul, I would see the Twilight books. So this did not age well, and until the rest of eternity, everybody is going to make fun of Twilight and hate Twilight. Now, these books are my books. I will always love Twilight for specific reasons, but let's be honest, they have a bad reputation. Speaking of Twilight and all of its hate, we are coming up with a book number 2, which is a Twilight fan fiction. We are talking about 50 Shades of Grey by L.E. James. Y'all, when this book came out, all of the adults were going crazy. I remember seeing these books in Facebook, seeing these books in articles, seeing these books all over Tumblr, and it was a hot sensation. But over time, you know, it had a very bad rep with the BDSM community being almost tiptoeing with that consensual line. Plus, we have a very bad relationship between those two. Definitely not healthy and definitely glorified. So these books turn out to be hella problematic. And as soon as they were just super popular and they were skyrocketing, they kind of crashed and burned. And no tea, no shade, I know that author just released another book, and I don't think it even did very well. So the 50 Shades of Grey franchise will always have a bad reputation between adults and even the teenagers too. Alright, the next 2 books, I'm going to clash them together because these 2 books have a very bad reputation, but these are the books that I say that they don't deserve it whatsoever. And that is the problem. So these 2 books are The Gilded Wolves by Roshani and Nocturna by Motayne. These 2 books are classified in the very bad reputation, and it is the stupidest thing
ever.
These two books, if you did not know, especially with the Gilded Wolves, these two books have a case of people comparing them to other books. And because they compare it to other very popular books, people gave it a low rating or would not recommend these books because they reminded them of something else. Gilded Wolves reminded them of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because both of them had a crew and then they had to plan a heist. I remember when everybody released the video and they were like, oh, well, it was too similar to Leigh Bardugo, so I wouldn't suggest that you want to read it, or all this garbage, because last time I checked, Leigh Bardugo did not create Cruise or Heist either. And now people are not talking about this book at all, but I actually read it and I really enjoyed it, and that is Nocturna. And this, everybody was like, oh my god, this just copyrighted A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I can't believe it. The female characters are the same. In Nocturna, we have Finn, and she is a face shifter and she pickpockets to survive off the streets. And then we have Lila Bard, who is a pickpocket and lives off the streets, and she's a pirate. And let me tell you, I read the 1-star reviews and everybody was like, oh my god, this is too similar to A Darker Shade of Magic. I can't believe it. And then one had the audacity to be like, oh, Nocturna has a prison break. Yeah, definitely Leigh Bardugo. Again. Let me tell y'all something. Ideas are recycled, and the only difference that these books have are 2 of them were written by white authors, and then the other 2 were written by POC authors. So yes, unfortunately, Nocturna and the Gilded Wolves will always have a bad reputation because people are just straight up evil. The next book that we are going to talk about, it is a very well-hated book in our community, and that is After by Anna Todd. If y'all remember Wattpad, I believe Wattpad is still going on these days, but Wattpad was a huge thing a couple of years ago, and this story After started in Wattpad, got finalized to a book series, and then got turned into a movie. And when they decided to turn this book into the movie, this book blew up everywhere because everybody wanted to read it, and they found out how problematic and insane, unnecessary this book was. I'm telling you, one of the most toxic relationships I have ever read in my entire reading life. Whoa, I've read the first and the second book, and let me tell you, this is like a bad reality TV show going in circles. It's a lot of tea, it is a lot of drama, it is a lot of toxic vibes and toxic people committing the same mistakes. It has every trope in the book that classifies as new adult. It has it, all of it. It was a mess. And the movie, we're not even going to talk about the movie. We are not. So a lot of booktubers vlog their experiences talking about this book, talking about how much of a dumpster fire this book was, and they were explaining how bad the relationship was and how toxic these characters were 24/7. So every time that you hear After by Anna Todd, you are going to either see an eye roll, somebody go like, or you're just not gonna hear about it, because these are just one of those books that we just don't talk about anymore. It has a very bad reputation, and because it is Wattpad, Wattpad got a very bad reputation as well. The next book that we have, I don't think it has that bad of a reputation, but if you mention this book on Twitter, you are going to get all the lovers on one side, and then you're gonna get all of the haters on another side. This book is split in half, and it is crazy, because you know for a fact that people cannot control their emotions on Twitter and start fights practically every other hour. And when this book blew up, tea, shade, words were thrown around, people were blocked, it was a whole spiel. So this book is pretty much about a witch and a witch hunter and a convenience marriage. Now, half of the people love this book and they would die for this book because it has hardcore fans, and then the other half literally hated it with a burning passion. Oh boy. But I will say this book is problematic. This has slut shaming. This had fat phobia stuff going on. It had problems with girls with big boobs. It was insane. We had colorism going on because the author described the secondary characters that were porcelain, gorgeous, beautiful, described to a T, and then we have one of our main characters, and she was a POC character, and her descriptions fell flat, like to the floor, barely any descriptions except that her hips were wide and she was sexualized as well. So I don't know if this book really does have a very bad reputation, but the more people read this book, the more people actually dislike it. So I would say in 2020, 2021, I would dare say that this book is going to be classified as a bad reputation book. Alright, y'all, and we are saving the worst for last. Like, to think that I have to look at this cover and to talk about this book makes me horribly sick. And if y'all did not know, you're about to find out. We're talking about American Dirt by Jeanine Cummins. Ooh, this book is absolutely horrifying of a book. This book was horrible. This book has harmful stereotypes about Mexicans and immigration. This book was racist. This book had everything under the sun. Like, this book, I don't know why they published this book or why they thought it was a good idea to publish this book. And then they published it, and then they gave it up for film rights. But when people actually started to write this book, obviously you're gonna have the people who are going to hype this up, people who are so privileged that they don't even see the problem of this. And then we got Oprah advertising it, we got celebrities advertising it, and nobody realized that this book was flat out racist, offensive, and horrible. So when this thing blew up, oh boy, it blew up in a very ugly way. I'm talking about Jeanine. She is always gone by American author, and now she claims to be like, oh, I have a grandma who's Puerto Rican. What does that even do? Like, no. And then to make matters worse, actually there's two things to make this worse. The publishing company sent out a letter to apologize, And obviously, you know that they're not going to apologize. They were just mad about people who were complaining about this book, and they just turned it into a, it's not my fault, it's you guys' fault for reacting like this, which was, I want to say strike 2. Horrible. Strike 2.5. 2.5 was Book of the Month. Released this book, I don't know if it was in January or February, and people were considerably upset. But if you scrolled down to Book of the Month, it had a warning sign on it, which I've never seen before. You clicked on it and they pretty much said, I hear your concerns, but we already made a deal with Oprah and this book has to be one of the books of the month. They put out a warning because this book was harmful, but since they already made a deal, they couldn't take it off. But at least they let us know, like they said this book was a no-go, but we had to put it on. The third and final strike, where I couldn't believe it. So not only does this author paint her nails with barbed wire over it, but she has this party or this dinner, you know, thanking everybody and congratulating herself on publishing the super successful book and all this money that she got, and the decorations on the table were covered in barbed wire, as if barbed wire was not a symbol of oppression for people but a fashion statement. What? And she even said in an interview, she's like, I don't think I was the correct person to write the story. You knew you were not the correct person because you know that we do own voices, and you just took an opportunity from an own voices to tell their truth, to tell the reality. You took all that money from the book publishing thing. You took all the money for the film, and then you were gonna be like, oh well, I wasn't the right person to write this book. Like, done. And every time I see it in bookshops, or every time I see this cover, I get this nauseating thing in my stomach, and I'm just like, I can't even believe the publishers, the author, the editors, everybody. And oh man, it was a freaking disaster. This book will always have a bad reputation, and you cannot tell me anything different. Alright y'all, and that was the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I really do appreciate it. Keep on commenting on my videos because I absolutely love talking to you guys. Like and subscribe, and tell me, are you a fan of these books? Go ahead, comment down. I'm not gonna judge you, y'all. If y'all didn't know, I am a forever Twilight stan. Twilight will always have my heart. And I just, you know, it's okay. We all have our opinions. I'm telling you, it is a-okay. So thank you so much for watching my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.